the greatest.
Hey, you know JayRay got girls here going way, 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 way.
So yes, what you have read on the thumbnail is not clickbait. I think I've decided this will be the last episode of Real Talk Radio. Plethora of reasons which I will get into. But first and foremost, let's just reflect on how far this show has came, the growth, the stories, the conversations that shaped this podcast into what it is. This podcast has definitely come a long way. A lot of trials and errors, and it's definitely going to help me with my transition into my next career path or focus, because I've learned a lot about troubleshooting. I've learned a lot about consistency, algorithm, content making, just everything that I kind of needed to prepare me for this last big step, this new chapter in my life. I want to say at the end of the day, after this episode is uploaded, I will be at peace with my radio podcast journey. But it'll always be an itch with something that you were once passionate about. And it's not that I'm not passionate about this podcast anymore. It's just it came to a point, the more I poured into it, and the more I tried to get it out there, learn about, how to market it better, like I said, the algorithm, it slowly started to burn me out. And I realized, I always thought when I graduated from college that I could try to balance radio and film, at least for a while, until a full-time opportunity came within both of the career paths. And obviously that didn't happen. But what did happen was those career paths took a little too long. So it helped me shift my focus, and it helped me pour more time into the podcasting. But like I said, it became overwhelming. I have 4 jobs. Sometimes I try to make time. I have to try to force time for like a social life, or just a getaway from, the pressures of trying to create a great foundation for my future. And it just became overwhelming, posting 5 short clips every day on multiple social media sites, scheduling them, editing them, trying to make them interesting, and each one has to be better than the next one. It's just, I did not enjoy that process, but it took a lot out of me, bro. And that was a reason, not too much of a big reason, but the other reason was that took the fun out of it. When I started this, I told myself, like, I want this to be the one thing in life that I'm not worried about. And of course, it still did happen, but I'm not too worried about it blowing up, and I'm not trying to be famous, and I'm not trying to it's not about just making money off this podcast. Or it's not even about, in the beginning, it wasn't about making money on this podcast anyway. But the more it grew and the more I saw it got better, it just, But anyway, yeah, it took the fun out of it. And anytime, my professor used to always say, if you can wake up on a Monday, and if you can wake up on a Monday and go into work happy, then that's not a job. That's your passion. I don't want to say the passion died, but also I think a lot of things in my life started to happen that made me realize I need to take that step. I ended up quitting Sprouts, which was difficult for me, because as much as I hated Sprouts and as much I don't stay at jobs that long anyway, having Sprouts and having 2 other part-time jobs that were very flexible allowed me to stay in a financial place I had never been in before, and I kind of got comfortable and I got complacent with myself. And I think that was the first time in my life I kind of stepped outside of my comfort zone. As simple as that sounds, just quitting a job, but for me that was different. I've always been the one to try to go outside of the box, go against the grain, if you will, and chase my dreams no matter what. Like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to find a way, but always have that cushion in the back. I feel like once I quit Sprouts, and it's like I still had 2 or 3 other jobs, but it was like if those gigs or those part-time jobs ever fire me or let me go, or they just ended up ending the programs, I didn't have a job I can go to and be like, hey, like, at least I got guaranteed hours here. So that was definitely a big step. And once I did it, I felt this big weight just lift off my shoulders, And I've been saying, bro, this film thing has really been itching. And that's the other thing, I never had time just because of how much I was growing this podcast. You got to schedule people. I have to host. I have to edit. I have to market it. I have to produce it. It's like so much. I'm the only one coming up with trying to different ideas, different topics, different ways to post it, take this social media post and get people's attention. And, like I said, I enjoyed the journey though, and this is not something that's going to be concrete and in stone forever. I do think, later in time, I probably will come back to podcasting. I probably will, go back to radio. These were my loves. Growing up, I was always a strong writer, and I love telling stories. And I think it's time for me to take what I've learned from here and take my storytelling to a different level. And that's documentary filmmaking. And just filmmaking and storytelling in general. I got some poems in the book that I want to make visuals for. I got ideas for short films that I never got to experiment with in college. It's so much I want to do, and I think this is the next big step. And I still think I can incorporate and still have all the things I love about this podcast going into film. Still learning. I think one of the biggest things when I was younger, when, you thinking about you want to be a firefighter, a policeman, or a rapper, or a professional NFL player, I was always a deep thinker from the beginning. So I think the two, and I don't want to say the passions, but the 2 things that sparked my interest was, and this is so ideal and so stereotypical for a young black kid, was to be a rapper or a basketball player. But not just because I loved music, not just because I loved basketball and sports. It was the fact that they incorporated, I would be traveling the world, meeting new people, entering new places, learning new places, getting experiences. And I think documentary filmmaking, that's gonna be a part of that journey that I'm so desperately loathing for, because that's all I've ever wanted to do, was travel the world, meet new people, help people, heal the world, make the world a better place. And I feel like, even though this podcast is ending, some may say too soon to have done that. I mean, when I set out to do this podcast, that was the whole idea. And I think I've done that in many ways, even if I only touched like a few people, over the world. Like I've seen my comments, my engagement grow. People are talking, people are opening their mind up. People are having the fucking conversation, and that's all I wanted it to be. I wanted us to stop being so closed-minded, because that's what's killing the world. That's why racism exists. That's why narcissism exists, is because we don't open our minds up to the idea of different perspectives, different opinions, different ideas. Like, everything is not just black and white. Everything doesn't have one answer. There could be multiple answers to the question. there's none better than the other. And two, it just, I wanted everybody to understand each other. I want blacks to understand whites more. I want heterosexual people to understand homosexuals better. I want politicians to understand regular citizens better. I wanted Buddhists to understand Christians better. I wanted Christians to understand Jewish people better. Like, I just wanted conversations to be had that we don't have, that stem from some of the issues that is killing society today. Let's say that. So yeah, that kills the growth and all that good stuff. Like I said, what led to the decision was just balancing time, creative burnout, and just shifting my passions, man. With this film thing, like I said, it's been itching for a long time. I've been sitting on so many ideas. I've lost so many clients from just waiting so long. I still have some that are waiting and probably think I'm BSing. The other thing is, and again, I was waiting on perfection, but now I've learned from this podcast, you really can't. I should just be recording with this camera, but I also know I want to be patient. So I've this whole year I've been saving up for a camera. And it's not that I've been inconsistent in saving up. It's just life has really been hitting me hard. And that's another thing I've learned, is that maybe timing it wasn't the time. I got in a car accident. That dented my financial situation. Then I was re-ing up from that incident. Then I got, I ended up in the hospital. And now I lost my job. I lost one of the gig jobs that I was kind of using as full time because it was flexible. I didn't have to go in every day if I didn't want to. I did commit to 40 hours, but I liked it because some days I didn't have to, and it fit around my schedule. And then, I could start focusing on also what I want to get into is freelance editing, videography, weddings, like I said, short films, commercials. I want to do it all. Music videos. I want to broaden my horizons, get into some different stuff. I want to vlog, but in a different way. I want to vlog where, there's no dialogue. There's no words. It's literally just music, sound effects, transitions. And I want to see if I can tell a story without using my words, just visual storytelling, or allow the people to interpret whatever they think the feeling or the premise of the video is. I just want to experiment, and I want to I'm not saying I'm tired of being in front of the camera, but it comes with a lot of pressure, and I've learned to kind of overcome the pressure. And I think after that, that's kind of what the universe is telling me. Now it's time to be behind the camera. Now it's time to pursue my purpose, which is helping people, healing people, bringing happiness, peace, closure, making the world a better place, changing the way we think about careers. One thing I definitely didn't like within the radio field was that I felt like you had to know, and I feel like it's in the film world, and that's why I always say I want to be an independent filmmaker. But the more I'm learning, you really can't make a lot of income off that. But I'm going to figure out a way. So I'm probably going to have to just go back into documentary filmmaking and, work with Netflix and Amazon and network and keep networking and see what spaces I can get into. But the one thing I didn't like about radio was it's all about who you know and who likes you. And I don't like that because I've met, as passionate as I am, I don't like kissing ass, bro. I want you to recruit me or pick me or see me for the passion that I get. That's not every day. You want talent, and I think talent correlates with passion. Not everybody that has passion has talent, but it can be built. And that's the part I really just didn't like, that part of the process of, making it in the radio. It was funny because I was working at an event in Mutation Brewery in Sandy Springs, and we was working a gig, and it was in like the afternoon, and this was for Cumulus Media. You know, I'm still a promotion assistant at the time. Well, right now I still am too. But me and this guy named Chris, one of my coworkers, was working it, and we got done setting up pretty early, so we had an hour to just, you know, sit around and do whatever. And we both was on our phones, and it was quiet for like a good 10 minutes, and he looks over at me and he goes, "Man, I just want to tell you, bro, you have what it takes to be in radio. Like, I seen one of your clips, and you said when the grind doesn't match the mindset, you know." And that was deep, bro. That hit me to the core. Like, I see it in you. You have what it takes to be in radio, bro. Don't ever give that up. Like, you're gonna be somewhere on radio. You should be in radio right now. And this is a guy in his mid 30 to 40s who, he doesn't constantly complain, but he's definitely expressed to me how he feels about not getting his shot. And you know how that shattered his ego and his feelings and his dreams at times. And for him to say that to me just made me angry. Like, I literally had to walk away. I thanked him and everything. And I walked away, and I just sat out on the balcony on that terrace or whatever. And I just looked out, and I just began to like, yeah, what am I doing, bro? Because like, I've always said that, but I didn't want to be egotistical or arrogant, you know? I always wanted to say that maybe it's just I'm not ready yet, you know? But I've always said it in my head, like, I'm better than half of these motherfuckers out here, respectively, in the radio business. Now, there's some off the top of my dome that I can name that, okay, she or he is good. They're really good. You know, Charlemagne the God, DJ Envy, Lauren Losa, Angela Yee, Jade with Q99.7, Kincaid in Dallas, Lucas in the afternoons on 101.5 New Country. Like, those are the people. Those are like the, you know, I gotta get some tools and scars under my belt. But other than that, it's a lot of them I've met that I'm just like, and I listen to, and I'm like, bro, I'm better. Like, no shade, but I'm better. I can bring life to the airwaves, and I know it. I've done it, and I've tested myself. I've done almost every single different format, you know, and I've gotten better with each one. But it's the fact that I experiment, and I know, like, whatever format you put me on, I'm going to kill the game. And I know it's about, like I said, it's about in the behind the scenes, it's all about money. It's all about ads. It's all about business. It's all about, you know, but I think that's what drives business too. Is like, in the company I work for, that's what they kind of build off of, is community, you know, having that personal connection to the community and trying to be local as much as trying to be global. And I think I can bring that not only to the airwaves, but outside of it, you know? So yeah, that was another reason. And it was funny because I called Twin up right after that happened. I was like, I felt this rush of motivation. I was like, bro, we got to lock in. From now on, every Tuesday, since you're off on Tuesdays, I'll make time, you know, I'll figure out a way. But every Tuesday, we got to have a meeting where we bounce ideas, where we plan out our futures, where we plan out how we're going to build our brands. And in doing that, I figured, I came to the conclusion that I don't think I can build both of these brands. It's just not logically possible time-wise. And I had to pick one, and I think it was film. I think it's film. So, amongst other things, your boy's going through it. So, like I said earlier, even if I wanted to continue this podcast, I don't want to get on here and lie to you guys. I mean, that's another premise of this podcast. I want it to be authentic and I want to be real. And I don't want to get up here and be sad every single time. Like, I do want to show y'all that it's okay to show emotions and live in them and express them through art, different mediums, or, you know, just some shape or form of not just speaking, you know. You can do it anyway, and that's another thing I want to do in film, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, your boy's been going through it. So like I mentioned, like I got cut off from I got fired for the first time in my life from that, something that wasn't even a full-time job, for reasons, you know, we'll never know, but it was definitely personal. It had nothing. It was I'm not taking accountability for that. For those that have worked warehouse jobs, you know how messy it can get. And for once, I actually stayed out the way and still got burned. So it is what it is. But those that have worked warehouse jobs and have warehouse experience and know how it is in there, you know what it is. Those that haven't, go work a warehouse. Go work for Amazon one time. Go work for FedEx. Go work for UPS. Just go work a warehouse. Go work for Toyota. You'll see. And that hurt me. But you know what would put the cherry on top? You know it was the snowflake that started the avalanche. The last snowflake was I met someone who opened me up to the idea of being or feeling in love again. It's been 8 years since I felt that. And to be honest, for a long time, I thought that I was going to be alone forever, and I thought that was okay. I began to think that some people are meant to be alone forever, and that's just the way it is. And thanks to my wonderful friends, you know, Shamika, Tiffany, Kiara, Zaire, that have been in my corner helping me through this hard time. Helped me realize that I needed this. I needed to experience this. And it's only going to help me grow from now. And, you know, I'm still messed up about it. It's going to take me a while, bro. I don't know how long. I think I honestly could see myself, you know, not I could see myself not having any friends, adding any friends to my inventory, or talking to women at all romantically for maybe a year or two. You know, I got some healing to do. I got to get in tune with myself. Like, losing that job. And it's just, and it was one of those jobs where it was finally like something that can help me work toward my goal, which was buying the equipment and filmmaking. It offered me flexible timing. It offered me a decent pay. It offered me a fallback. It offered me extra income if I wanted to get a full-time job again. And that killed me, bro. On top of that, not just only in the same week, the same day I found out that the person that I expressed to myself that, you know, I have feelings for, or at least I thought I had feelings for, and that's to be concluded, because I don't know if it's still wrangling through my head. Just know that she distanced herself in a way I never thought I would see, and we never reached a period of bad terms. We literally, the last thing she said to me was, call me later. You know, we're going to show each other some things, and I'll see you Saturday. And that took a lot out of me, you know. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think I was in love with this girl or falling in love with this girl for real. I didn't know her. She really didn't know me. But the parts that she was sharing, the parts that I did know, I think I fell in love with the potential of what she could be and the potential of being in love. And it kind of sent my emotions on a roller coaster, and I couldn't control it. And maybe that's part of the reason why she distanced herself. I don't know. But I can tell you guys this. I even if I want to bring this, even if I wanted to continue this, I would have to take like a 3-month break. Because right now my heart is in shambles. My spirit is slowly dimming. I feel like I'm not in control of my life right now. Like, I feel like I can't control anything that's happening right now. And I feel like even if I tried, it would be like a euphoric dream where I'm trying to reach out and grab and take a hold of everything and put the pieces back together, but I can't physically. It's like being in a dream trying to run, and you know your mind is telling your mind to make you run fast as possible, but you can't. You're just stuck in this slow motion effect. But yeah, my heart is in shambles. My spirit is slowly dimming, and I'm slowly starting to feel numb to my emotions. And I don't think I could continue this podcast with that type of energy. I don't want to bring that type of energy to you guys. I always want to be authentic and bring my true self to y'all and tell my stories and share this stuff with y'all. But now it's like, I got to get myself together. I got to heal. I got some work to do with myself. I got to get in tune with my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit, my mental. I got to get my physical together. I still got insecurities. I still got family trauma. I still got personal trauma that I'm dealing with. And I need to heal. And I don't want to say I'm going to wait till I'm 100% to come back to you guys, but I at least need to do the work, because it's apparent that I'm attracting the wrong people in my life that are adding to this turmoil that's been brewing in me for so long, bro. And I feel like this year has definitely, and we joked about it over the phone with my good friend Tiffany the other night. We was on the phone for 6 hours talking about this. And she was like, she joked. She was like, yeah, you definitely got a 3-punch this year, you know? And I was joking like, yeah, why didn't, you know, if the guy up there exists, why didn't he put me on a car financial plan, you know, put on a 60-month? He hit me with and luckily it wasn't a major artery surgery, but it was somewhat of a critical surgery. It was he gave me a car accident. He gave me heartbreak in January, the second, third week in January. I went from almost being a radio host, finally cracking the scene, like literally a month after graduated from college, was unheard of. And in that same week, I felt like I was fired. Now I wasn't technically, but I definitely closed the door for myself. And this year has just been a roller coaster. But what it taught me was patience, because back then I would probably still be depressed. Back then I would probably be depressed for so long. But each hit that I took this year, I took that shit on the chin. You know, I bounced back quick from each one, and it was all of them back to back to back. Thank goodness we only got 3 more months, so it's only so much he can hit me with now. But yeah. Last but not least, I want to thank, everybody who supported this podcast. You know, that was another thing I'm proud of myself for, and I think I could take it along in my journey, was patience, being patient with the growth of this podcast. You know, we started at 57, and I have to admit, I was definitely inconsistent in the beginning. But as I got more consistent, there still was days I would, check my views every once. So I would check my analytics, and it wasn't growing to where I thought it should be, and I would look at other podcasts that I don't think, no shade, had as much substance, had as much depth, had as much, that was as unique as mine, Like, we sit here, we talk about everything on my podcast. No conversation is left off limits. That's another thing I love about this podcast is I wanted people to learn as well as show them I'm learning along the journey as well. Like, you're not just watching me and learning. I'm learning as I'm sitting here talking to my co-host. You know, I want to show the world that like not everybody knows everything. You know, most podcasts you see they're professional or they're expertise in something, in some type of topic, ideology, something. I'm not, bro. I know some subsurface things, and there's some things I know deeply, but there's some things I know is it's a lot more deeper than what I know. You know, I might know a lot about it. Excuse me, but I'm not Mr. Know-it-all. So I want us to learn together, grow together. So I appreciate everyone that watched, especially those days where, you know, I had to learn to appreciate those 2 or 3 views that kept it going, because it could have stayed at 0, bro. It could have stayed at 0. The people that came on this podcast, the people that pushed me to start this podcast, shout out to Twin them that helped me really start this podcast, especially like the branding and everything with the logo and the intro video y'all see every time. Shout out to Twin them for really helping me turn this podcast into what it is. I know y'all remember the first episode with me and my boy Darian, and we didn't know what the hell we was doing, bro. Especially me, bro. Like I said, it was trial and error. Like you look at if you go on my YouTube right now and you click on my profile and you go to videos and you go to oldest and you go to the first 3, bro, you'll realize like, bro, what were we talking about? What were we doing? But we did it. Shout out to Darian too. He definitely helped me start this podcast in the beginning, because I wanted to. I was nervous. I was always scared, and I was like, I need somebody at least next to me. And he was always down, bro. You know, he allowed me to enter his house and use his space. Same for Dwight, bro. There was a point where, you know, me and Darian, well, not on bad terms, but we weren't talking as much as we were. And, you know, he was busy at times, and it was really hard because I had nowhere to record, and Dwight opened up his home. Twin opened up, and then, you know, Twin opened up her home, and she opened up my mind to different conversations, and me finally getting comfortable on this podcast, and helping me come up with different ideas to really stimulate the conversations in my brain and the people and engagement. So I appreciate that. Vicky, you always been a day one. Imani, you always been a day one. Whether y'all come on here or not, y'all always been a day one. Y'all always throw me ideas. Y'all always give me pushback. Y'all always give me the support I need to keep going. The little bit of support I need to get home, because there are days when it got tough. So yeah, I think that's it. You know, if you want to follow me along my film journey, you can follow me at Stories by JayRay on Instagram. My YouTube handle is also Stories by JayRay. I think my TikTok will also be Stories by JayRay. For those that are listening, you know, I appreciate you guys too. And I'll check my Buzzsprout often to see what Apple Podcast, Spotify, and all the other distribution audio platforms are doing, and I at least get, you know, 2 or 3. I don't think I've ever had 0 downloads, so I appreciate y'all too. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know exactly what's next, and I'm okay with that. And like I said, this is not a goodbye, but more like a see you later. I may one day come back to it, and it may be a different version of Real Talk Radio. It may be rebranded. I may be doing a specific niche or topic, but in the end, you know, y'all know me. It's always gonna stay real. It's always gonna stay authentic. It's always gonna be real. It's always gonna be raw, and it's always gonna be authentic. You know, and yeah, I don't even think I have a motivational, inspirational quote for you guys today, or a question of the day. Just have a productive day. Just always remember, no matter where you're going or what you're doing or where you are in life, continue working on yourself. Don't quit on yourself. Don't quit on your passions. Don't quit on your dreams. Take it day by day and enjoy the journey. Don't base your happiness or base whether you should continue this off the destination. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the ups. Enjoy the downs, because that's what's going to build you to be the best you can be in whatever area you want to be in, whether you're a mother, whether you want to be a mentor, whether you want to be a filmmaker, whether you want to be the president of the United States. whether you want to be one of the best nonprofit organizational professional, like whatever it is, bro. Just work on yourself along the journey and enjoy the journey of working on whatever it is you want to do. And that's it for me. Signing out. It's your boy JayRay. Till I see y'all next time. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's. Love y'all. See y'all soon.